after a busy few days. What are the big takeaways? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, how does it all stack up?
Great to be on the show again, Emily. You know, at the end of the day on Friday, so 5 days ago, I tweeted that my prediction for this Black Friday, Cyber Monday is going to be that direct-to-consumer brands and small businesses will be the winners, and that this holiday shopping season would be a barometer for consumer interest in supporting independence. And so Black Friday definitely set the stage for the weekend. We saw total global sales of about $2.9 billion on Friday alone. That's a 21 increase since the previous Black Friday. Interesting enough, in 2019, our merchants crossed 2.9 billion for the entire weekend. And this year they did that in just one day. But now we have full stats for the entire Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. And here's what they look like. We saw about $6.3 billion happen on Shopify over the 4 days. That's a 23% increase year on year. 47 million consumers made a purchase from a Shopify merchant during the weekend. And average cart price was up $90 to $100 this year. So people spent more. But I actually think when you compare that to the industry-wide results, what you are seeing is that Shopify merchants actually outpace the industry at these astonishing rates. And I think it indicates that independent brands really were the winners.
So let's talk about that. And I'll admit, I've seen a lot of Shopify over the last few days trying to get my own holiday shopping done. On the other hand, you have Adobe coming out saying spending on Cyber Monday fell for the first time ever this year, clocking in at $10.7 billion or so. How do you square that?
I think it's a tale of two retail worlds. I think consumers are voting with their wallets now to buy from independent brands and small businesses. And when you look at the brands that are doing really well right now, whether it's Allbirds or Gymshark or Brooklinen or Skims or Bombas, those are all Shopify stores. In fact, Trina and Heather from Figs, who recently went public, a Shopify homegrown story, told us that they had record sales this season. So we are seeing that these direct-to-consumer brands are doing really well. Also, what we are seeing is more of the legacy, traditional brands like Lego, Mattel, Spanx, Dockers, Stetson are also now coming to Shopify to sell direct to consumer. So I think it is quite clear the future of retail looks like independent brands and not these legacy big box retailers.
Why do you think they're coming to Shopify versus the other options out there, whether it is Amazon or, selling at Walmart or Target or another big box store?
Well, when you sell in a marketplace, you're effectively renting customers from that marketplace. And I think more and more with these brands want to have a direct relationship with their end consumer. That's the first thing. But the second thing that's more important is when you sell on Shopify, you effectively are doing two things. One is you are selling across every surface area. I was on the show a couple of weeks back talking about our integration with TikTok and Spotify and Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest. When you sell on Shopify, you can sell across every surface area possible. But also when you hit that launch button on your Shopify store, you are effectively default global. It means you can sell to a global consumer base. And so this idea that you can get started on Shopify, but then when you go public, look in your Figs or Allbirds or Oatly, you can continue selling on Shopify. I think that makes us really unique.
Now, there's a lot of fear right now about supply chain shortages. Will you get your stuff on time? Will you get the stuff you want? My mom started shopping in October for all of her gifts, for all of her gifts for the holidays. How is this impacting consumer decisions, and how bad is the shortage really?
Yeah. One of the things we've noticed is that merchants on Shopify have been incredibly resilient. They've gone from one obstacle to another, like the pandemic to supply chain. And we keep seeing this great resilience. I think shipping delays have definitely accelerated consumer shopping earlier, like your mom and my mom. And we're encouraging merchants to communicate that and let their merchants know that it's better to do so. But the supply chain reality looks very different for large retailers than it does for independent businesses. And I think what people assume is that these big box retailers may fare better versus independents because they have more scale. But actually, that is not the case. In fact, what we've seen is direct-to-consumer brands have much stronger margins, and therefore they can better weather the storm and leverage technology. And so we're actually seeing a lot of our merchants fare better than the biggest retailers because of that, because the big retailers simply have razor-thin margins.
So what are your expectations then for the next few weeks? Is everybody done with their shopping? Or not? Okay, there's still procrastinators out there.
I think there's some procrastinators out there, and I think you're going to see shopping continue. So again, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend has really transformed in 2021 into a season as opposed to 4 days. But the fact that we saw over $6 billion happen in 4 days, it's still very, very important. I think consumers are going to continue shopping from their favorite brands well up into Christmas. And again, a lot of that is happening on Shopify.
And look, we're still feeling the impact of the pandemic. How will this year compare to next year? And what does that mean for Shopify if people do continue to go back to brick and mortar stores? And we saw them do that this year. What does that mean for Shopify?
Look, I think Shopify was a really unique business because we were very much a pandemic story where so much digitalization happened across so many retailers, and so many people started businesses and entered entrepreneurship in rates we've never seen before. But we're also this amazing recovery story because we see so many merchants of ours using more of our channels. We have a massive business just doing brick and mortar stores, and that's doing really well too. I think for us to be the entrepreneurship company and the retail operating system of the future, it means that we have to give merchants the ability to sell everywhere and anywhere. And that's what we're doing. And so we're bullish for a great 2022.